Hello there, doctors. In today's episode, I have Dr. Tammy Penhallow. She's a regenerative medicine specialist and anesthesiologist practicing in the Phoenix, Arizona area. And the reason why I have her on today's episode is to highlight her now as a YouTube influencer and a doctor who has grown her brand online and how she has developed over the past 2.5 years to being the powerhouse that she is today. So welcome, Tammy.
Thank you so much, Anne. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, that's great. So let's just kind of start from the beginning and take us back to like around in November of 2023, prior to us working together. What were you feeling about? What is it that you want to achieve that made you initially decide, you know what, I'm gonna have a YouTube channel, I want to grow my brand? What struggles did you had at that time?
I have an independent practice that is direct specialty pay, and I felt like I needed visibility. I was not going the traditional marketing route with Facebook and Instagram. I failed thousands of dollars miserably on ads for that simply weren't working, and it wasn't my style. It wasn't my ability to teach and to really get a message out to people, whether they end up becoming my patients or not. I am a teacher at heart, and I was looking for a way to get the right information out there and dispel a lot of myths that was starting to come around as regenerative medicine becomes a more popular kitchen table word. And there's a lot of scam cell clinics out there. And I wanted to be the voice of reason and the person who could set the record straight, both for physicians possibly interested in coming into the space, as well as, and most importantly, patients.
Great. So you wanted to have a voice that gives evidence base for regenerative medicine, but you didn't know where to start. You didn't know where to start. You didn't know what to start with. And what made you decide to, reach out to work with us, and what has happened during the meantime?
Sure. You and I knew each other from the space of the Orthobiologic Institute or the Interventional Orthobiologic Foundation. And you did a presentation at Toby. And I found you in the hallway afterward. And I said, look, I love what you're doing. I love the reach that you have. I love the ideas that you're putting out there, that it is not taboo to speak about money. It is not taboo to reach your target audience. And how do I work with you?
I remember that actually. So, what was it about it that you decided, you know what, I want to do this? What false belief that you had to overcome to take that initial step? Because oftentimes, when working with doctors, I see them having these false beliefs that oftentimes, like, oh, they're shy on camera, what HIPAA concern, or what would my peers think? All these like false belief that is really not true. What type of things that you had to overcome to really start building your brand online?
All of those are good, honestly, and I can't say that that they all didn't play a small role. I'd say the largest one, though, was in that space and time. You were one of the only female presenters on the stage at that meeting, and it was powerful to see another female pain physician in the space absolutely doing her thing. She was rocking it, and she was ready to spread the word to others. And you weren't so concerned about protecting it in this little box. You were ready to share. You were ready to give the goods, and didn't have this fear that if you shared information that somebody's going to overtake and overshadow you. And there's so much degree of competition, and not only in the physicians in general, but I found a little bit more competition between females. And I simply didn't feel that with you. So that was number one. Number two is that thing of, am I good enough to be in front of people? Is what I'm going to say come out well, or will I be representing myself and my brand well? What if I don't say the right things, or what if I need to do a second take on a recording? And the first couple of times I did several takes, and now I roll with it because people want to know you as you are. They don't want this plastic prepared perfectly, not a single hair out of place, not a single ever in your vocabulary kind of person. So I got over that really easily. And a lot of it was with you as a role model.
Well, thank you for that. I'm honored for you to reach out to work with me on that. And what was the initial step that gave you get that initiative to say, I don't care what people think about me, how I look on camera. And then I see that as a big hurdle. It's like, oh, I gotta look perfect. I gotta talk well. What do other doctors think about me? Did you just say, you know what, I don't care. If Ann can do it, I can do it.
Some of it was that, Ann, but also it was the way that you coach, the way that you said, here's your assignment, here's your task, here's your deadline, do it. And that kind of thing says, all right, in my mind, then we're going to get this done. We are going to do this, and I'm going to try, and it's okay. So structured that way of not, oh, I'll think about it sometime, or I've got a 3-month runway before I even get my first time on camera. It is, you have an assignment and you have a deadline. And we as physicians respond to things like that. We set a challenge and we meet it. So part of it was your coaching style. Another part of it was, who is my audience? Is my audience my peers, or is my audience the tens and hundreds of thousands of people out there who are struggling, who I can bring a voice of reason and a credible voice to some common problems that they're having, and try to drown out the noise of the influencer type thing where it may be somebody without any training. And that gave me confidence and buoyed me to say, my voice is just as powerful, and I've got the credentials to back it. And these people are sometimes getting scammed and screwed, and I don't want that to happen. So it's my mission, and that gave me a lot of impetus as well as confidence.
Wonderful. And what do you see? And both you and I can relate to this, but I want to hear from your perspective. What are some of the challenges that women in regenerative medicine face, especially even growing a brand? But what are some of the challenges that we face? Because as you and I know, you said, well, I was the only one on stage. When you go into regenerative medicine, it's dominated by male, and most of the people that speak are male. And I can tell you, when I first started, I recognized that. So, and I knew that as a female, I'm not going to be boisterous or flex my muscles like the other guy. That's just not me. And how I did it was I created my own table. I created my own category, which is, regenerative medicine for sexual health, and then created my own space that I don't need to compete with the other doc. And that's how I kind of, you heard me always say, set your own category. But I learned that from a coach that coached me in 2021 to, you don't want to compete with them. Create your own category, and you will be the king of that, or queen of that category. So having said that, and because I took that initiative because I had a coach, and I think that you are your own category as well. You got a queen of your category. So let's just kind of step back and say, what are some of the challenges that women physicians in regenerative medicine face?
I think we can stay specifically in regen, but I can actually step back out. I mean, women in medicine in the surgical subspecialties of anesthesia, and then an interventional specialty of pain. I've always been one of few as a female. So I'm kind of used to that, and stepping into the regenerative medicine, which is a procedure based kind of surgical subspecialty, if you would, category. It wasn't anything new. So I already knew how to play in the field. And you're right, you don't compete on muscles. You don't compete on who has as much testosterone in the room, but it's on setting yourself apart. And I am a category queen in optimizing my patients prior to doing this comprehensive look at getting their joint and or their spine back to where it needs to be, where they want to be active with their grandkids or on the pickleball court or wherever. And you allowed me to do that. And your training from your coach is passed down to me as your mentee. And it just keeps going on. That's how I coach my patients. So I think it is, again, setting yourself aside rather than jumping into the same pool.
Absolutely, because it's like I said, create your own table and your own category as well. So we hope that our doctors can do that. And I think all doctors, you are unique. There's no another Tammy or there's no another and. And oftentimes hear people say, well, and you're just different. You can do this on your own. I go, no, I'm not different than any of you because your experiences, your professional experience, your personal experiences, and your personality is what make you your own different category. I'm not you and you are not me. You just got to own it. You got to plant your flag and you just got to own it and take that initiative. And I hope that physician, as you're listening to this, that you will feel that movement or that voice in your head that you can do it. You are your own category, but what you need to do, you need to plant it and own it and put a flag on to say, this is your category and then everything else will follow. Because was it easy? No, right? I mean, what were some of the struggles that you had when you first started, around 2024 and recording and building your brand and starting to build that? What were some of the challenges that you had?
There are some minor things like the logistics, but that was so simple. I would not let that stop me. But do I have the right microphone? Do I have the right, camera? Do I have a ring light? Those little things, but you check them off and that builds your confidence. Then just using our coaching sessions to help me determine what to even talk about. And then taking your challenges. We did a challenge where there was 90 days in a row that I did a short, because we knew that I was doing well on the long form, for example, on YouTube. And that's where I really can dive in and educate. But if a lot of people aren't seeing that, then you need to reach a different audience and let them convert into your long form. So you challenged me to do the 90-day shorts challenge. And through that, I had more eyes on. People were interested, engaged, because the attention span of a gnat generation that we have, and that got more viewers. So that is what pushed me over the 1,000 subscriber mark. So that was the thing, is how do I even know what to do? And you helped me with that by you making me very narrowly define a niche, the knee. I know I treat all the other joints. I know I love the spine, but you made me narrow down the whole riches and the niches, the whole, if you own it all, you own nothing kind of thing. Or if you speak to it all, you speak to nothing. And being the category queen in what I do was imperative to build trust with the audience, as well as to really niche down in who I can help. And that changed what kind of videos I started putting out. So that was a challenge. And you and I did a little butting of heads on occasion because I wanted to speak about the shoulder. I want to speak about the spine, but I finally acquiesced to you and understood the reason for you wanting to niche me down and allow me then to grow with that over time.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all versatile. We can treat multiple areas, but it's easier to niche down. It's kind of like Starbucks, right? Starbucks is known for good coffee, right? But you go in there, once you go in there, you buy your coffee, you also buy a salad, you can buy a sandwich, you can buy other stuff, right? They sell coffee beans and other stuff. It's the same thing. Get the people into the door for one thing, and once they're into the door, you can offer them a menu. Every doctor should think of themselves like that. Niche down. Think of yourself like a Starbucks and niche down, be known for that category. And once they're in your door, you can offer them the whole set of menu that you want. All right. And that is the whole thing about niching. It's like be known for something and then grow from that. And one of the questions I want to ask you is, now that you had your YouTube channel over 1,000, and now you have a brand, and I love your YouTube channel, and I love the phrase you said, architect of motion, because it's really, you're setting yourself at your own category, precision medicine for architect of motion, and niching down to regenerative medicine for knee, for pickleball players or tennis players or golfers. But what the thing that I like was that you have grown quite a bit in the last 2.5 years. How have things have changed for you since you have built a brand online, especially on YouTube?
I've expanded out so that I can now reach patients. If they cannot come to Scottsdale or Arizona, we can work through a individualized one-on-one in a 5-day challenge. And that affords me the ability to reach more people, affect more lives, and they don't have to make that travel. So my ability to help more people, which is near and dear to my heart and why I went into medicine in the first place, that has helped. My ability to speak and feel confident off the cuff, particularly with that 90-day challenge on shorts, just being able to come up with something and say it and be absolutely poised and articulate in a short period of time to capture the attention is critical in my engagement. Say I'm out at the grocery store and somebody sees on my tank top my business name and say, hey, what do you do? I'm ready. And just having that ability has invited me onto speaking panels as well as advisory positions. So speaking is an important thing to nurture and develop. And doing this on the YouTube channel has then expanded into the other abilities outside of in front of the camera thing. I have gotten TV interviews. I've been on spots where I can also help educate and bring the spine model or bring the PRP kits and again, reach more people. But I believe that it is by solidifying my presence in front of a camera that has helped that.
Absolutely. It's that you become more confident on camera, but are also more articulate in what you want to say. That's not something you're born with. That's something that's a learned behavior, right? And the more you record, the more you connect what the thought is to what comes out through the mouth. And I have seen you do that over the last 2 years as well. I have observed it also in myself. And I've also seen you evolve and be able to articulate what your mission is and what you want to do, like the architect of motion and regenerative medicine. And so it seems that you have kind of narrowed down what your mission is. Is that correct?
It is. I've become more clear over time because you have all these things in your head and you want to try this, you want to try this, and then you just hit your stride after you've done some things. You need to get in the reps before you can really start to focus down and see what not only speaks to your audience, but what speaks to you. And it helps narrow your passion, and anything you're passionate about, you're going to be more successful in.
Great. So if you're going to give advice, like one or two advice for doctors that they have a voice, they want it to get to a larger audience, but don't know how, or afraid of worry about the multiple reasons that are absolutely false. And I've always said, doctor, you are already 2/3 of the way there's influencer. Influencer, you need credibility, you need authority, and you need reach. You have the credibility being a doctor and the training and the sacrifice that you did for more than a decade. And you have the authority, the expertise of your clinical training. All you need is the reach, which is the followers. But you got to get out there. You got to get out there for people to know you, to know who you are, so that way they want to work with you, whether it's the brand or your patient or even other doctors as well. So what advice, that you've done this for the last like 2.5 years and we worked together for 2.5 years, what advice would you give doctors that are contemplating about doing the same thing you are?
So you have the authority, you have the credibility, you need the reach. We do not go to media school. We do not go to marketing school. We do not go to business school. So get a coach who can help you cut through, and you can then start here instead of starting down here and climb up doing everything. This is not a DIY. This is not one of those things where you need to waste your efforts and your months, right? An example, I had a YouTube channel since 2019. When you and I started working together, I don't know, I'm going to butcher the number, but it was under 50 followers.
It was in the 30s. Yeah. It was in the 30s.
I knew it was somewhere there. And now we're at 1,300 and growing every month. So what took me on that exponential curve? A coach. Everybody has coaches. Look at a professional athlete. They have a strength coach. They have a mind coach. They have a nutrition coach. They have a technique coach. They've got this entire team. We need coaches. The smartest business minds in the world have coaches. So this is an area where you say, all right, let me get a coach. And that's going to help me reach more people. What's inside? What's your why? Know that first. And then once you know your why, then your coach can help you put that out there and achieve your why. My why is teaching as many patients as possible about the scams of some regenerative scam cell clinics and help them avoid that so that they can get the kind of relief that they want, so they can return to the kind of life that they want. And I can't do that if I'm speaking to 35 people.
Absolutely. And you definitely can convey that mission. And I see that. I see your growth in your channel. So how can doctor check out your channel on YouTube? What is your channel?
My channel is at Dr. Tammy Penhollow. And I can also be found on LinkedIn if they want to have a DM conversation. But even messaging me on an at Dr. Tammy Penhollow is super simple.
And I always stress that once you have a YouTube channel, that becomes your digital resume. That becomes your online resume. That's how you can be found, but that's how other people can discover about you as well too. And that's how it helped me now have 20 different sources of multiple income from just being visible online. Did I know that when I first started in 2021? Absolutely not. I just wanted to create videos in 2021, but I invested in a coach where I didn't have the money, or I took money from my 401k to invest in a coach because I know at that time that I didn't know what I didn't know. There's a saying, you don't know what you don't know. It being so correctly, because you can identify this when you're a medical student. You're looking at something, you're like, wow, the patient has a distended abdomen. I don't know what I don't know, right? Is it ileus? Is it, what is this? Unless you're attending. So think of a coach as like you're attending. Your attending will walk you through the differential diagnosis, the symptoms, and so forth. So you yourself can recognize the next time you see a distended abdomen. Same thing. When you have a business coach, that coach will show you the steps that you need to do to get progress and result faster. When you were saying DIY, that means do it yourself. I mean, if you try to do it yourself, try to grow your YouTube channel, you're going to kind of run in circles like this because you're going to make mistakes, try to figure out the mistakes, and then maybe move one step up, but then 3 steps back. Because I have tried to do that myself too and realize, you know what? It's kind of like trying to learn how to play tennis on your own. Yeah, you may make some improvement, but you're not going to get to a higher level unless you have a coach to get you there. But like what I like you said was hold you accountable. Like as doctors, we're so competitive where we like to have deadlines, right? So if somebody hold you accountable for what you need to do, then it really kind of gives you that extra push. And I can't tell you how many times I hear that from the doctors that we coach. And once we set a deadline, and I'm usually pretty good at saying, this needs to be done in 30 days, right? And
Right.
you set a deadline, all doctors meet those deadlines. Even when they have a busy practice like you, or they have a family, they have kids. We're just working a doctor right now that's in Oregon that has the family, has kids, and he is pain management doctor and a anesthesiologist as well too, do regenerative medicine, but he coaching women runners on how to run better because he's also a runner himself, but his passion is marathon running. And when he first signed up, he had multiple excuses why he couldn't do a video. And then finally, I held his foot to the fire and said, you got to record this video in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we got to have a video. He did 20 takes, 20 different re-recording of the same video until we both feel that it is adequate. But he did it. And he did it within 2 weeks with a busy practice and with 2 kids that are less than 10 years old. So it's all about reframing in your mind and prioritizing to achieve that goal. But once you achieve that goal, what happens, Tammy? Once you achieve that goal, what does it give you?
Well, it gives you a sense of confidence and competence, and you take steps, and there are fewer steps up and fewer steps back. I mean, the trajectory is a lot faster, and each step opens up new opportunities. The ability to bring in stronger packages and help people even more by adding these things and here and here. And so you're actually making more with each of your conversions in each of your cells because you have the confidence in saying, I know I can get these results because look at my outcomes. And that comes again from presence and the ability to make those kind of conversations with the people in front of you. Your leads become potential patients, become then the mouthpiece for your business. So it's all related.
Absolutely. And I remember some of our conversation in the past that you wanted to spend money to do certain things. And I said, oh, no, it's not worth it. Don't do that. I remember stopping you from doing several things. You know, a lot of doctors think, oh, if I put an ad on here, I put an ad on there, I may get business, but you can't track things like that. And the best thing that you can track is growing your brand online. Because I see this in myself, I see the doctors that we work with. When your brand online grows, everything else grows with it. Your authority, your revenue, and just different type of ideas that come out as well too. If you told me in 2020 I would have 20 different type of income, I thought you would be crazy. I thought it was about talking about somebody else. But now it's like it's there. And you know what? It's a good thing to know that as a doctor, you can have multiple ways to make income aside from seeing patient in your practice because you deserve it. It's not about talking about money. It's about getting paid for what you're worth, getting appreciated for what the knowledge that you have. I mean, as physician, we can figure out somebody that's on life or death situation within a minute, what we need to do or not. We take that for granted sometimes. And I think that the insurance company kind of brainwash us to really not appreciate what our skills are. So having said that, so follow Dr. Tammy Penhollow on YouTube. Give her a like and a subscribe and a chance. She puts out great content. If you're a regenerative medicine doctor and really want to get the latest and greatest, follow her channel. See how what she's doing. If you're a doc, check out her channel, see what she's doing as well too. And also follow our DoctorBoss channel as well, because we're focusing on helping doctors grow your brand so that way you can get more patients to your practice, but also I want you to think big and know that you kind of have multiple sources of income besides seeing patients in the office. And check out our communities at Doctors Online Success in School. We have now, we've grown that to like 300 docs all over the world. Now we have free content in there for you that will help you take that first step to hit that record button and kick fear in the face and false belief in the face to know that you can grow your brand online. And being a doctor is easier than ever to do that right now. If you don't take that step, unfortunately, with AI and everything, if you're not online, you're going to be invisible. And that's just the reality of it in the next few years. You need to be online right now. So having said that, Tammy, thank you for being here. Any last words?
I'm from Oregon. Nike was developed in Oregon. Just do it.
That's right. Just do it. You never know where you're going to be at a year from now. You will not be the same again. So see you in the next episode. Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you.